Okay, well, welcome, Kendall. Thank you for inviting us to your table read at the beginning of last week, Sunday the 12th. And today we appreciate you joining us to talk about your recent project. So just relax, get comfortable, and let's get right to it.
Thank you.
Okay, again, welcome, Kendyl. So let's start out by having you tell us about yourself. Where are you from? What's your educational background? And what's your motivation for your career choice?
Well, I'm originally born in Nashville, Tennessee at Meharry Hospital. And I grew up in the South. I grew up in Alabama after settling there, a few places, Huntsville. I was in drama magnet. I was always trying to be on stage in the house. So somebody knows about that one. um, but I took that and put it into my drama magnet program at Lee High School. Then I went into sports more, but then in college I was kind of undecided, didn't know what I wanted to do. Somehow I still ended up at the end of my college career going back into acting. And so since then I've been pursuing, acting, commercials, theater, film, and I moved to LA in 2007 from Atlanta, and that was in a lot of lot. However, I was never really. I wrote growing up. I used to write short stories, short scary stories, and I used to like to read a lot when I was, that was kind of like my comfort was reading. So I would write my own stories, and I never thought about becoming a film writer per se. I had a lot of ideas. I ran into this guy my first year in LA, and he was like, "You have to write in LA. You can't just be an actor. You got to write. You got to do everything." They called it a triple threat growing up, acting, singing, dancing. But in the Hollywood world, you got to do everything: direct, write. You got to write, direct. You got to know finances. You got to produce because that's all the business. And if you're not going to get the opportunity for somebody else, you have to create it for yourself. I learned that the first year. And as time went on, I wrote later on in my years in LA, I came up with this idea that I collaborated with some people from Clark, Atlanta, and we came up with our television series. We had two, but the one that we shot was Agenda X. I was a co-writer and a producer on that. That was my first writing um, project that we actually put into production. It got good feedback, but of course we needed more funding. We need more development, but it was still a good experience in learning how to write and also how to produce. Fast forward, I've been writing a lot of scripts, so I have a lot of stuff that I need to finish that I think is very interesting. I loved scary stuff, so it's kind of funny that you're seeing more horror in the Black world. Like the horror genre is becoming more popular. However, I've been there since 1983. Since I was running out of the room when they used to put on Nightmare on Elm Street. I kept coming back to it. I don't know why I like scary movies and thrillers. I wrote a couple, but this is the first project that I actually finished. It's my first fully feature script that is completed, and you all got the opportunity to sit in and listen. I was very proud of finishing it. It's a very big accomplishment just to finish a script by yourself. There was no co-writing. So that's where that leads us to today.
Yeah. Well, we saw it and we thought it was really good. And, now you know me, I will tell the truth. And I'll try to be polite and nice about it. But, you know, it's like I always say, if I see an ugly baby, and really, most babies are cute, but sometimes it doesn't come out quite so right. But I'm not going to say, "Oh my God, your baby's so ugly." I'd be like, "Oh, uh-huh." So, I'm kind of like that about everything. I'm not going to lie about it. I might not be too, you know, forthright, but it was really good. It was really good, I must say. So, so what exactly was your inspiration for this particular movie script?
So this
Anything?
particular one, so it's interesting. I was working on another script. So I really want to get into this other script. Hopefully we'll get to talk about this one. I'll complete another one. It's based on things I see in my life. Of course, you got to base some in reality, but this is how I base in reality. Something kept popping up in my mind about a professor. I don't know. I met this guy who happens to be my boyfriend now. And he gave me this professor vibe. I don't know his glasses. And I was like, I have this idea. I just came up with the idea before I met him. But it was about a professor, but not along the lines of, completely, oh, he's like the older professor that you're attracted to. It's like, what more can you add to it? So I just kind of kept thinking of this professor, but not like make him lovable and then make it shift, like not in a normal way though. Just make him become a villain, but not a villain. Make him not be in control. I just want to see this guy go from being in control to not being in control. I think I saw a couple movies. I forget what it was, but I saw there a couple of movies, and one was how this person was so in control, and the light and the cinematography was very bright. And as the story went along, the cinematography vaguely it started to slowly get dimmer and dimmer until at the end of it it was almost gray. It was like bluish gray, that all of this color, the saturation had gone out. And so this person's demise was being shown, but also the cinematographer was showing it going from this bright and shiny day life to just gray and
Hmm.
and that was interesting to me. I've seen a couple of other films that other things that just I had them all in my head. So I just wanted to put that, like, what can I do to create something like that kind of world? So it kind of transpired from seeing some films and then putting it all together in my head with this professor.
Okay.
Got it. Wow.
What genre would you categorize your piece of work?
So, I'm a like I said, I'm a horror person, but also I've always been like a Hitchcockian fan. I've always used to watch
Yeah.
Tales from the Crypt and stuff.
Love, I love Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thriller.
Yeah.
Mis- that's what this.
Mystery though, like it was mysterious, you
Yeah,
never really knew, you were
yeah,
surprised at the end.
yeah.
Good choice.
I like the mystery of mystery solving. When I watch films, I always try to figure out what's going on. But I like to. That's why I like watching mysteries and thrillers, because you try to figure out what's going to happen or who is it, and if it's too easy, So it's kind of like
Who
playing
done it?
like a game, like Clue, or like Clue is one of my favorite movies too. Like that whole mystery, like who done it, and
Mm, mm.
thriller aspect of making it dark and ominous, like a noir style. So I kind of wanted to incorporate that into this film. So I call it a mystery thriller. I would say a mystery thriller.
Mhm.
Okay, okay, great. Um, so why do you think the audience would like your movie?
Well, I don't really know if they're gonna like it. I know that I think it's interesting. Um, I like I like paying attention to what people normally what fascinates people. Some people are pretty like straight laced, but my goal wasn't to really worry about who liked it, because there's a genre for everybody. So there's an
Mm,
audience for everyone. And I knew that I would appeal to a specific audience. I just felt like that. I felt like my passion behind my idea would have this certain genre of people who watch these things come in to fruition.
gotcha.
That's just how I
Now
saw it.
that's really, yeah, now that's really cool. I'm not a movie script writer, so I often wonder, are you writing the movie or the piece to try to capture or captivate the audience, or are you writing it just like you said, because you have an interest in this particular genre and you could just see these various ideas coming into fruition and putting them together. And that's more like what you were drawn to, right? As opposed to trying to write, like to try to second guess how the audience is going to uh, uh, how the movie is going to appeal to your audience.
Yeah,
That's
I really think that there are a lot of people who do that, who write for an audience, who write to target people. I, on the other hand, look at it differently because I'm not looking at it from a money making aspect or a demographic aspect. I'm looking at it from an artistic aspect and a storytelling aspect. And if even with books, you have millions and trillions of books that appeal to whoever picks that book up and wants to read it. So why not film? That same thing with films.
Mhm.
So I think that's another thing. Like writing this was almost like I had a literary aspect. Like I said, I wrote short stories. And even when I picked up certain things, I picked it up because I was interested, not because like all my friends were, because I was always different. And I'm like, well, but when I would say, oh, I read this book and let me tell you how it was, and it pulls them in and they weren't interested in it before. Now they're interested in what I have to say because I pulled them in. So I think of it like that as opposed to saying, I'm going to sit here and write for this person. It comes off a little more generic in my opinion. And that's why I'm like, I'm just gonna write it and then pull people in. Because you may try to target someone and you may be able to get people outside. Like you all were drawn into it. I wasn't really expecting someone who's may not like horror, mysteries or thrillers, maybe mysteries, but thrillers to say, oh, this is interesting. You know, you know, so I don't like I'm gonna write a Christian base because if I do, I'm gonna cut out a lot of my creativity. So that's
That
my
makes a lot. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great answer.
Yeah. So tell me a bit about what the challenges that young Black artists face in your professional field besides the obvious.
Well, for instance, that what we were just discussing is like we're placed in a box. I mean, even we're placed in a place where we only are able to be this one thing, right? As Black people, we gotta, from anything, we have to tell these stories. We got placed in this area where we're only telling the same stories. That's what they think the majority of us are like. Like I don't know if you've seen American Fiction, that was
Yes.
very
Great
good
movie.
film on paying attention to this is what they want us to say to them, and this is maybe a part of our culture, but it's not a part of all of our culture. you know Artists, and I mean I see it as an artistic perspective, like they box in, this is art, you're not supposed to box in art, typecasting, things like that. That's what we deal with as Black artists. We're typecasted. We're not expected to do things. And if we do something out of the norm, then it's not right to them. If you don't talk a certain way and you're Black, you're not supposed to talk like that. You're supposed to be sounding like this. You're supposed to be talking about that, Like even as an actor coming into LA and I was doing commercials, I would be doing commercials coming and talking like this, and I think I sound Black, but I would come in there talking and they'll be like, no, you gotta be more like I'm doing a yoga commercial audition, and they're like, you gotta be like, girl, let me tell you, you gotta do this right, do all of this. And I'm like, okay, for the yoga class. But that's what they were expecting. So I like in this more currently, people are defying that because most of us aren't like that anyways. But finally, we're at a place where from old to young, we're behaving in a way that we have the freedom that our parents and stuff, they've worked to allow us to have. It was a tough road. And even still, when you're in that road, you even kind of get pulled into, I'm supposed to be, you're in the box.
Right.
So it's kind of great now that you're getting more freedom
Yeah.
than you had
Yeah.
before. Still a box.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
great
Well,
life.
yeah, I think that it is changing drastically because I mean, look at Black Panther. and how popular that Black superhero was globally. I think the world is waiting for something different, irregardless to what the old um, powers that be, the old thinkers, the old people that were running the industry, irregardless to how they felt and what they were thinking. I think the young people are breaking out. People in general are breaking out, and they want, like more a different, like you said, artistic content, and specifically in our society, in the Black community. So yeah.
And I must also say, because I'm in the thriller, I like thrillers and horrors. I do appreciate, like, Jordan Peele was like the breakout filmmaker of horror. He
Hmm.
started comedy though, because that's where you start, right? Every time you try to be an actor, you got to start playing a robber, a cop, a hood person, or you got to do a lot of comedy. So, but when he shifted like that, and it opened this genre that was already there, by the way, it's kind of like how Beyonce did for Black country artists. It was there. We were there.
Oh
It was
yeah.
just that he, put it out there in a mainstream way for Blacks to be in horror. And now you see some really well made horror. Them, Swarm, those are kind of like funny takes, but they're still interesting, and they're still like, mystery and thriller and horror to it, and you'll probably see more. And I appreciate that. Whereas, before it was like not even necessarily that people didn't want to do it, is that it wasn't accepted even in our culture. Like, people were like, oh, you watching scary stuff. That's against the Bible. That's just kind of, we put ourselves in boxes sometimes too. So this is in a place where people are comfortable being themselves more and being
Yeah.
accepting of things too. So
Okay. Great. So let me ask you this. Why do movie productions cost so much? And I know that there's a lot to it, but like the short answer, the short version, what all is involved? I mean, it seems to cost a lot.
it costs a
There
lot.
are some low budget movies that they're not as good, but then you got movies that are in the millions.
Mhm. Millions. So it's basically like a machine. It's very intricate. All these small parts that are going to create this working machine. So you have you have all the people that are working. First of all, you got to deal with all of your production crew, to all of your actors, right? That's the obvious choice, right? To focus on that. However, you have other things. You have to eat. You have to cater. You have permits for locations. You have to get those locations. You have to pay for that. You have to pay for pretty much anything you can think of. Anything you can think of. Then you have to deal with how to market, and you have to deal with how much is going to cost for legal aspect of it. There's a
Mm.
lot of work, moving parts that involve creating a budget. The main thing of production, though, that makes a great production, and then you have to deal with post production. So you have to make it look with quality. You have the equipment, every aspect of equipment, from the light. Wherefore, I have my little Amazon light. However, if you really want some good lighting, I put some money into that, right? So I can
Mm.
have, light, flawless, more like that. But even still, it's like every working, moving part is important. There are no small parts, is what they say in Hollywood.
Mhm.
There are no small parts. So you're paying for everything to make this function. And then, of
Okay,
course,
that makes sense.
yeah, and then you have to, it gets more costly because of the value of the workers, the value of the talent, the value of the people who you're going to have producing more money for you, their value, that fact that
Mm.
they're working to get a lot of money too. So that's a lot of time, and they want their money too.
I got it. So for example, you know, if if you hire Daryl instead of Idris Elba, he will come in at 1 million, but you could probably get Daryl for about 300,000, maybe 250,000.
Let me tell you something. Idris Elba is a big name, and he's reliable because he's where he's at. But Daryl could come in and kill it too. You know,
That's
Well, thank
lovely.
you for that.
That's lovely of you to say.
a lot of talent out there, and it is about the name, but it's also about the quality. For me, I'm a person you don't know, but I pay attention to those things. Like this person, you don't remember, they don't know who they are, but they came in and made this part happen.
Yeah.
You know, you can see Samuel Jackson in a lot of films, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that could have made the part just as wonderful, if not, is not more, wonderful. Not to say that he didn't do it, but there's a lot of people out here itching to show what they've got too. And they're not as expensive. So sometimes it's good to find a good talent that's not as expensive. So Daryl may have the right eye, but Elba is Idris Elba. So
Thank you.
it's all quality.
Gotcha.
So what's your projected budget for your movie, and do you think you'll be able to meet it?
So my projected budget, we're starting with 250,000. That's at a lower end. Now, I'm looking at, and also that's another thing. We're looking at the city taxing, the location. You have to pay for that too. I'm wanting to shoot it in a city that may have higher. We're working that out. And so that's what we're working for. This budget can go up to about $5 million if we shot it as visualized. So, but as a new filmmaker, a new writer, and a newer filmmaker, I am happy to try to make this work with a $250,000 budget. But I'm looking. I would be really happy with $500,000.
Okay, great. Well, we're going to see. We would love to help make that happen. We want to get this out to as many potential investors as possible. So listen, would you compare your movie genre to something? Well, you did say it was more like a mystery thriller. So it's like, I was trying to figure out, is it more like a Glenn Close thriller or Fatal Attraction or something like M. Night Shyamalan? Shyamalan, is that how you say that? Or even you mentioned Jordan Peele, but Jordan Peele is comedy. Is there any comedy? I'm trying to think if was there any comedy aspect?
He's gotten into
It was
thriller,
kind of.
more thriller, yeah, also actually.
What would you say? Is it serious?
I would say, but there's words and there's how it's delivered that may come off a certain way, but it's not. It is a serious. There is no comedy, no dark. Oh, I love dark comedy. I would say some of my comparisons. I don't know if for instance, one of my shows that I kept coming back to me in my mind that I thought was really good was The Night of. It's a TV miniseries on HBO, very good. And then I went What Lies Beneath, which is Robert Zemeckis is kind of a person that has he has a lot of mystery in his films.
Right.
Like I said, Alfred Hitchcock as well, if you want to go to like something classic. I have like a long list of ideas of things that, from surprising, like there's a French movie, Irreversible, that is it's an independent, but the actors are major actors now. Surprise ending, crazy shooting, everything. But that is something like that. Dark City with the noir.
Okay, gotcha. So, well, this has been really great. Is there anything else that you would like to leave our audience with today?
Well, the first thing would be, if you're interested in supporting this project moving forward, that's the main thing. It's to contact me with anything. Like, we were looking for investors, we're looking for serious investors, and we're looking for people who are not afraid who believe in it because they know that they're going to get a return. You can reach out to me on my email is Kendyl R McCray at Gmail. That's KENDYL RMCCRAY at gmail.com. You can refer people there who are serious investors who are interested in it, the project. Also on my Instagram, Kendyl underscore Renee #1. Those
Okay.
main thing. Also, having been in this industry for a very long time, and it's really starting to, I'm gaining a lot, even with confidence and everything of, what, where else are you gonna go? Just do it. Just do it. You
Yeah.
you don't know where it's going to go. Finish the script. Do this stuff. If there's and find different avenues to stay. If you want to stay, I want to stay in this field, so I'm going to find other avenues. There's only one thing I want to do, and that's create. So, I just feel like just the passion, keeping passion for it, and understanding the passion in this project and how far it can go. And if you can see it go that far, come and support.
Well, we certainly did enjoy it, and I see it doing very well. So I believe that it is a sound investment, and I believe that people will get a return on their investment. A good return because I thought it was really good.
It's a great script,
Yeah.
and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you. I'm very happy to hear that.
Mhm.
Feedback, so that's what
Well,
matters.
yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you again so much for taking time out to join us. And I'll be putting that information, your email, and any other contact information that you want us to put. I'll be putting that in this production of this interview video. So
Awesome. Well, I
just
was
go knock them dead, girl. Keep creating, keep creating.
wait, there will be more. Let's make this happen and we can grow from there. Many of scripts and many things, to share with the world. I hope I get a chance to. And I
I'm
must
sure you will.
very beautiful, isn't she?
Yes.
Well,
Love
thank you. All right. Well, we're going to log off and thank you again for joining us. We
Well, I'm
wish you the best of luck. We know that this is going to make it. We know that.
glad you all are in support, and I'm glad to be a part of this interview with you all. Thank you for inviting me on. And yeah, let's make it happen.
All right.
You're welcome. We wanted to bring you an exciting new talent that we interviewed. We're in Mexico and they are in Atlanta, so we had to do this interview remotely. And in the future, we'd like to focus more on young talents that are doing some exciting things. We're very excited about this project, and take a look and see what you think.
Yes, there are so many talented young people that don't get the recognition they deserve. And so we want to use this platform to expose some of this artistic talent that is all around us, these younger generation that are displaying. And so thank you for joining us, and we'll see you at the next production.